everyone. My name is Anaya Rodriguez, a sophomore student in the hairdressing shop at Emmett. Welcome to the first episode of Condor Conversations, your one-stop place for everything you need to know about Emmett Technical High School. Listening in to our regular podcast will fill you in on all the important information about events and other school information. We will also provide a roundup of athletics on each podcast. You will hear interviews with members of our staff. We will highlight the achievements of our students. We will have a shop instructor provide tips to improve life around your house. And we will hear from EOB alumni who will talk about their experiences at our school and how they have paid off for graduates. First, let's have our staff introduce themselves to you.
I am Callie Faria. I'm a sophomore in the IT shop.
I'm Jacob Slauson. I am in my junior year and I am PMT.
Hi, I'm Riley Rose, a junior here in the PMT shop.
Hi, my name is Sam Karen. I'm a sophomore in the IT shop.
Hello, I'm Sophia Maldonado. I am a sophomore and I'm in health tech.
And once again, I'm Anaya Rodriguez, a sophomore in the hairdressing shop here at EOB. So welcome all you Condors out there to the first episode of Condor Conversations. Here's Isabella Bandera with this installment of school events.
Hi everyone, I'm Samantha Karen. I'm here to tell you about upcoming events and important dates for the EOB community. Seniors need to pay attention. Here's a list of dates and times to help you all plan ahead for your senior activities. If the Lake Compound senior class trip is approved, the date will be Friday, May 26th. We will depart school at 9 a.m., leave park at 4:30 p.m. Approximate cost per student is $38. This includes all-day ride tickets and catered picnic lunch from 12 to 2. The water park is not open, but there will be 2 water rides open. The senior prom is Thursday, June 1st from 6 to 10 p.m. at Anthony's Ocean View, New Haven. The senior awards night will be Thursday, June 8th. Senior breakfast will be the following morning on Friday, June 9th. There will be no cost to students for this event. Information regarding graduation practices will be announced soon by Ms. Laboudier. Graduation will be held on Tuesday, June 13th, 4 p.m. at Nolan Field in Ansonia, weather permitting. An alternative schedule has been set in case of rain. There are no tickets, so anyone may attend. All dues must be paid in full in order to participate in the senior activities as well as be permitted to walk in graduation. See Ms. Salmary or Mr. Koziel for more information. As you may know, on Friday the 31st of March, Emmett O'Brien Skills USA Group spent the day at Wilcox Technical High School competing at Skills USA. It was a long day, but we had many successes. The confirmed results are in. We did very well, winning 5 gold medals and 1 bronze medal. Congratulations to all Skills USA competitors. And finally, congratulations to senior Mekhi McNeil, who was named to the All-State team for boys basketball. He's the first All-State player at EOB since 2013 and only the 9th All-State player in school history. Great job, Mekhi.
Thanks, Sam, for all that important information. Now the seniors are up to date with all of those great events. And now here's Riley Rhodes with our sports roundup. Take it away, Riley.
Hello, Condor fans. I am Riley Rhodes, a junior here in the PMT shop at Emmett O'Brien. Here is this month's sports roundup, which focuses on our basketball teams. Both our boys and girls basketball teams were perfect examples of the term road warriors this year. All of their games were played on the road due to issues at our home gym. Both teams successfully overcame this huge obstacle and had successful seasons. Our boys basketball team is coached by Mr. Craig Bahoon. This year, the boys basketball team finished the regular season 11-9 and qualified for the state tournament. Our biggest wins of the year were against Platt Tech, Derby High School, and Wolcott Tech. On senior night, in a win against Wright Tech, senior Mekhi McNeil scored 40 points. He scored 39 and 38 points in the 2 games that followed. For his efforts, he was named the Male Athlete of the Week for the entire state of Connecticut. Mekhi has averaged 22 points and 10 rebounds per game. The other leading scorers are co-captain senior Mike Smith, sophomore Elijah Frazier, and senior Nigel Cunningham. Also contributing have been seniors Ryan Bergen, Dylan Burns, and Jaden Plateau. Junior Suvion Moore, sophomore Ethan Marty, and freshman Landon Wheeler. We also have been blessed with 2 amazing team managers, junior Brielle Moore and freshman Annalise Robles. Congratulations to Coach Bahoon and the EOB Condors boys basketball team for a successful season. And now we move to the Lady Condors, coached by Miss Sue Schreiber. This year, the Lady Condors posted a season record of 13-7, qualifying for both the state tournament and league tournament. Senior co-captain Tessa Davis had a terrific season, averaging 9 points per game. Tessa pulled down 192 rebounds, and her 52 steals led the team. Tessa is now the 7th top scoring Lady Condor with 78 points, 785 points. Co-captain Gianni Gomez was the Lady Condors' defensive stopper, and co-captain Frankie Yankuski made great contributions on both sides of the ball all seasons. Junior Navani Harris made the Nutmeg Division All-CTC team. Other top performers were junior Stephanie Tamburino, sophomores Jordan Diaz and Marley Oros, and freshman Nyla Gwashi, and we're looking for big things next year for sophomores Madison Chandler, Michaela Morin, and Gracia Pedro. Congratulations on a winning season, ladies. I'll be back on our next podcast where we will cover basketball, soccer, softball, outdoor track, and golf. Thanks, everyone. Go Condors.
All right. Thanks, Riley, for that roundup of sports at EOB. Go Condors. And now we have Samantha Karen, who will do our student spotlight. Today, Samantha will be talking with senior Kyle Montero, our student council president. No softball questions, Sam.
Hello everyone, my name is Samantha Karen and I am a sophomore in the IT shop here at Emmett O'Brien. Today, for the student spotlight, I will be interviewing senior health tech student Kyle Montero, the president of the Emmett O'Brien Student Council, as well as the student congress president of the Technical High Schools and president of the National Honor Society. Welcome to Condor Conversations, Mr. President.
I'm Kyle Montero. Thank you for having me.
Why did you want to be the student council president, Kyle?
I started off in ninth grade as a regular student body member of student council, and COVID hit my sophomore year. Really, is when we were out of school, so we were just kind of doing just like virtual stuff, really. And then junior year, I was working very close with our advisor, Ms. Kennard. We did have a senior last year who was our president, and I took a lot of leadership advice and mentorship from her as well from Ms. Kennard, and I ran at the end of junior year, and I won.
What are the main responsibilities of your job as student council president?
It's working one-on-one closely with Ms. Kennard and basically being her right-hand man and being there as kind of support for her when she needs stuff done. Especially this year, we've seen a major decrease in student participation, so it's actually been hard, trying to get things done. And with trying to redefine what we're allowed to do with restrictions and what's not allowed to happen. So kind of just basically everything. I try to do basically a big huddle at every meeting that we have to kind of discuss what's happened, what we're doing now, what we plan on doing, and take from there. I do rely a lot on the other officers to pick up the slack as well. So have to know the balance between the two.
What have been some of the events and fundraisers we have done this year?
So we try to do one at least each a month if it's not including just direct student participation. We did a fundraiser for Black History Month. We did something for National Women's Health. And then we basically sponsor the big events. So our Spirit Weeks twice a year, our Class Wars and Shop Wars, which unfortunately won't be happening this year because of the situation with our gym. And Field Day are kind of our big top four that we do during the year that we focus a lot of our time on. And then a lot of stuff happens in between. We do take direction from Ms. Laboudier on certain ideas that she has, or certain things come from central office that they'd like us to do. And we'll kind of balance between the two and try to help out and sort out different things.
What events and fundraisers can we look forward to for the rest of the school year?
We are doing Spirit Week, hopefully the 2 weeks after April break. We're trying to get confirmation. We will be doing on May 26th, what I was referring to at Ms. Laboudier. There was a memo sent out that all technical schools, they wanted a get out of school day, essentially, and try to get participation of students outside of school. So we'll be using the opportunity of doing field day at our track. We'll be having food, activities, and trying to make the best of that day. Since we haven't really had a lot going on this year because of everything, trying to differentiate between the two, but we're trying.
How do you feel you've helped the student body this year?
I do feel like my leadership skills have kind of helped, being the point of director when it comes to telling students what to do and trying to get them. And I've also been trying to mentor the younger students so that when someone takes my position as what was done to me. So basically trying to just give direction and help out where I can.
What are your plans for after graduation?
I plan on attending Sacred Heart University for my BSN program to become an RN, and eventually I would like to become a nurse practitioner.
Thank you, Kyle, for being our first student to be featured on the Student Spotlight.
Thank you so much.
Great interview, Sam. CNN is in your future. And now we'll move on to our staff profile featuring an interview with Mr. Brennan, one of our English teachers here at EOB, and he is the responsible for organizing these podcasts. I'm sure Jacob has a lot of questions. Take it away, Jacob.
Hello again, everyone. This is Jacob Sloss, and I am back for the Condor Conversations staff profile segment. In each episode, we hope to introduce you to one of our academic or trade instructors so you have a better idea of the great staff here at Emmett. And what better guest could we have for our first staff profile than Mr. Brennan, an English teacher here at Emmett O'Brien Technical High School. Mr. Brennan is also a teacher responsible for producing these podcasts. Welcome to the Condor Conversations, Mr. B.
Thanks, Jacob. Nice to be here.
Happy to have you. So how long have you been here at Emmett O'Brien?
I've been at Emmett O'Brien. This is my 12th year, I believe.
Interesting. And how long have you been an English teacher?
Really, really long time. I'm pretty old. I started teaching 35 years ago, so I've been teaching quite some time.
35 years. And how many years have you taught at Emmett O'Brien?
About 11 years, 12 years now, I think.
Oh, wow. What was the experience like?
Coming to a tech school was different. I taught at traditional high schools down in New York. So getting used to having students be here for 10 or 12 or 14 days and then move and have a completely different group of students, that took a little getting used to. But once I did, it's just like every other school. It's just that things tend to move a bit faster. I feel like I have to get things finished in a cycle so it doesn't carry over to the next cycle when the kids come back. But outside of that, it's ended up being a pretty normal experience, and working with the shop instructors frequently is awesome. They're really great over there.
And in the midst of like all these, changes between trades and academics, how did you come up with the idea of making this podcast?
I had the idea for the podcast actually right before COVID hit. Unfortunately, we have a studio downstairs that they're using, the IT department is using for video productions right now. And that's when I thought about podcasts. I started listening to podcasts myself, driving back and forth to work. And I know that they're fairly inexpensive to do. And we have an IT department. Mr. Moran and his guys down there really help us out. And so they got us all set up. And I thought it would be fun to get students involved in a little bit of a podcast. So here we are, Jacob. Hope you're enjoying yourself.
Oh, I am, Mr. Brennan.
Okay.
So with that, what do you think is the goal of having a school podcast for our school?
Well, we're always looking for ways in the school to get our name out there and communicate information to everybody. So once we record podcasts, we put the links up on Parent Square, and anybody, literally anybody, could go and check out our podcast and learn about our school. It's also a great way to communicate information to students and parents. Just one other way to do that. You can never have enough ways to get information out. And I also thought it'd be kind of fun, something a little different, and moving into 21st century too. Everybody's got a podcast now, Jacob, so we do too.
Well, as you know, with this new century in technology, why do you think it's important to introduce us to it?
Because that's the real world. I mean, you're in PMT, a lot of technology involved there. Most of the trades now, right, in auto, they do a lot of time working on computers, and all the students here have a Chromebook. They do all their work on Chromebooks, and that's kind of the way the world is going. When I started, I was old school with chalk and a chalkboard, and now we've made this transition to using technology more and more and more. And I think it's important for students to get used to technology, to get used to using it, because when they go out into the real world, more than likely, even if you're on a construction job or a plumbing job, at some point a computer is going to be involved. So to get the students comfortable with computers, I think is really, really important.
Yes, it is, Mr. Brennan. We have you to thank for that. And thank you so much for being with us today on Condor Conversations, Mr. B.
You're welcome, Jacob. Happy to be here.
So how's your computer running? Are your devices secure? Can your dog log onto your iPhone? So here comes our first shop corner. In every podcast, we will feature one of our great shop instructors who will provide quick tips and tricks to help you at home. Today, we have Mr. Moran, our IT shop instructor. I'm ready to take notes. Bring on Mr. Moran.
Hello, everyone. I'm Callie, as you were introduced, and today I will be hosting Condor Conversations Shop Corner, where we will be featuring EOB's awesome shop instructors who will provide some simple tips and tricks to help you in your everyday life. And today we have Mr. Ray Moran, who is the head of IT shop, and will give us some simple ideas and tests to improve our lives while dealing with technology. Welcome, Mr. Moran.
Thanks, Callie. I'm happy to be here.
So first of all, we have to say that the entire staff of Condor Conversations has to give you a big thank you, your technical assistance in our podcast to get it up and running.
Very happy to help you guys. I think this is an important uses technology, which we're always happy to see.
Mm-hmm. So we know that you were a graduate of EOB back then, but
many years ago, I am.
But they didn't have an IT shop back then.
They didn't. No.
So what shop were you in, and how did it get you into computers?
Sure. It was a much smaller school back then. I graduated a long time ago. I'm just going to leave it at that. And at the time that I went to school here, we were, I think, 7 shops, believe it or not. And we were an all-boys school. We weren't a girls' school. So the shops were really focused around, at that time, what they thought men were able to do. So the shop I took was Machine Shop, which is now known as PMT. And what inspired me to go on for further education after I left Emmett was I learned how to program CNC machines in the shop. And I really enjoyed the programming aspect of that. And it kind of sent me down that trajectory of kind of going down and learning how to program. So I went to college and learned how to program. And my career went on from there.
Mm-hmm. After you had a successful career in business, though, like after college and all that, you decided to come back here and teach IT. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, I spent about 37 years, believe it or not, in business. And I got to the point where I think I was getting bored with it, frankly. And I recognized that I wanted to do something other than the business life. And not only was I bored with it, you get to the point where you're almost maxed out with it. I needed to do something different. So teaching was really not on my mind at the time I left the corporate world, but the opportunity came up when they were starting the IT shop here at Emmett O'Brien to have somebody come in and start the program and get it going. And I thought it was a great challenge and a great opportunity to give back. And I feel that my time here at Emmett really kind of...
Mrs. Lily Johnson, please call attention 803. Mrs. Johnson, 803.
So I felt like my time here at Emmett O'Brien when I went as a student really was the reason for my success. It established a work ethic with me early in my life when I was a teenager, and that stayed with me in my career. And I think that attributed a lot to how successful I was in my career, and it sticks with me today. So I wanted to give some of that back to students and show them, inspire them to be a lot like I was coming out of a product out of Emmett O'Brien.
Mm-hmm. You wanted to show them that they don't have to stick to something.
Well, and then, you know what, and that's a good point to bring up. That it's true that you don't necessarily have to stick to the shop that you select. If that's what is that what you're implying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because what I found is that, and I say this to my students all the time, is that there could be a taste of something that you're going to take away from the years here at Emmett. And that you will hopefully go off with that spark of interest into something else. Or it might even be aligned with exactly what you're doing. But mine was just the spark of something. Mine was not the aspect of machining. Mine was, or engineering or anything in that space. Mine was more of the little thing that I was doing senior year, which was called programming at the time. And it was doing it on old machines and what you guys would consider old machines today. That really kind of set off that spark. And I think that's the important thing that I took away, and I hope other students will too.
Okay. So onto the tips and tricks that was said before. Everybody nowadays is concerned with internet access and all that, and people keeping their private information private because everything now is pretty much online.
Yeah.
So, what are some ways that we can help our electronic devices keep our private information private, like security on it?
First, I think the first thing, when I was in business, one of the things that we would do a lot is we would establish what they would call awareness, which is you need to be aware of what you're doing on your computer at all times. So when you're on the internet and you're doing things on the internet, you need to be aware of who you're interacting with. You need to know that if you're interacting with somebody that's asking you for personal information, you're confident that that relationship, whether it be a business or another person, is trustworthy and you're able to interact with them. So a lot of it is just being mindful that, information, there's always going to be thieves out there that are going to try to go after stuff and get personal information from you. And it could be, a face-to-face type situation, or it could be over the internet. And you just got to be aware. You got to be mindful. You got to know that that could potentially happen. And you just got to filter your information better. Be smart about who you give information to, and be smart about what you provide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, this is one of the last things that we have here, unless something gets brought up that I want to continue on with.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have seen that rotating circle that Mr. Brennan likes to call the rotation of death.
Okay.
Where it buffers in.
Oh, now I know what the rotation of death is. Okay, I didn't know Mr. Brennan had that term. Okay.
Or the circle of death.
Yep.
What are some tasks that we can perform to make it
go away?
Yeah. Or to make it.
You know what? Sometimes that is a lot of it could be predicated on the way that particular PC is configured and the size of the machine and so forth. There's so many variables that can really play into that. It could be your internet speed. It could have to do with other people. If you're at home and you're on your network, it could be, the amount of people that are competing for that same bandwidth, as we call it in trade. That everybody's going after the same thing. So a lot of times, what happens is that's that circle. What is the
circle of death?
Circle of death. It's, it's frustrating, but there's a lot of things that contribute to that. I would say that there's not a simple answer to it. More times than not, people are on the internet, they're on a web browser, and they're going after something that their information that they're looking for. And it could be the site that's not responding, which is something that's outside of the control of the user, it could be on the other side. Or it could be on your side, meaning that you don't have the speed of the capability of speed either on your PC itself or on your internet. And that's usually the cause of that type of stuff.
Okay. Thank you for downloading all the information with us, Mr. Moran. I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thanks, Callie, and thanks to Mr. Moran providing those great tips. February was Black History Month, so here's a belated segment by sophomore Caitlin Francis to celebrate Black History Month.
How did Black History Month start? Well, it dates all the way back to 1950, where Carter G. Woodson, known as the father of Black History Month, created an organization called the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. In 1926, Woodson started the first Negro History Week on February 7th. His goal was to celebrate and spread the awareness of Black history. In 1976, it turned into a month-long celebration and was renamed Black History Month. Woodson wanted Black History Month to not just be about a great man or woman who were involved. He also wanted it to tell Black people about the histories and the achievement Black people have contributed over the centuries. Black History Month is a very important month because it talks about the achievement Black people have made throughout the years. Though being enslaved and stripped of our culture, we were still able to accomplish things and change the world. For example, Frederick Jones created the thermostat. Alice H. Parker created the gas heating furnace. Vivian Thomas, who created the artificial heart, yet died of a heart attack because he wasn't treated in a white hospital. Mary Britton Brown created the home security system. There's also people like May Carroll Jemison, who was the first Black woman to go to space. Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first African-American female self-made millionaire. Barack Obama, who was the first Black president. Or Josephine Rennie, who was the first African-American to be elected into the House of Representatives. Without those things, the world would be different today. For me, Black History Month is just something I enjoy learning about as a Black woman. It helps me learn about things I wasn't taught in school, and it lets me know
of the achievements Black people have made that aren't in textbooks. In my opinion, it gives me a sense of empowerment because it shows that Black people are not the people they're sometimes portrayed.
Thank you, Caitlin. That was great. Well, in March we celebrate Women's History Month. Here is sophomore Sophia Maldonado with a look at Women's History Month.
March is one of the most important months on the calendar because it is Women's History Month. We celebrate this month because it recognizes bravery, equality, and justice for the women of our nation. The United Kingdom also celebrates Women's History Month. A few American women who helped make our society great are Amelia Earhart, who was the first woman to fly alone all over the world, Susan B. Anthony, who was a pioneer in the women's voting rights movement. Aretha Franklin was a great singer whose song Respect put women's rights in front of the entire world. Of course, there is the First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady of the U.S. under President Roosevelt, who was a great supporter of women's rights. And finally, there is Kamala Harris, the first woman to be named Vice President.
Well, that's it for the first episode of Condor Conversations. We hope you enjoyed our first full podcast episode. We have a few people to thank. Thank you to Mr. Ray Moran, EOB's IT department head, for all his technical assistance. Without him, there are no Condor Conversations. Thanks to IT shop seniors Jordan Goodman, Alirio Zapata, and Joe Spinelli for editing our podcast. Thanks to our principal, Ms. Laboudier, and assistant principal, Michelle Dunn, for all of their help. And finally, thank you to Mr. Brennan, the moderator of Condor Conversations podcast. The Condor Conversation podcast is available on Spotify and YouTube. Click the links in Parent Square or Student Square. Links to podcasts are also available on Emmett O'Brien's social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Condor Conversations, the official podcast of Emmett O'Brien Technical High School. Go Condors!